Bungalow Bill here. A few goals for this episode. 1. I'm going to pull the scouts back because I don't have the same vision and pressure as I usually do. And I don't really want to ultimately have them being the main forces in combat. As happened in the last episode, it makes the fights take a little bit too long. So instead, I'll take the ones that I already have. I will group them up with some of my other forces and get into some slightly more concise battles. Another goal is to make a resource transport, as well as an air vehicle for capturing land tiles that is not the scout. I would also like to finish this vehicle, and I think I'm going to make it a little bit longer, but not by very much. And I did lie about not making it a water skimmer. I think I want a vehicle that's fairly fast. So it's going to be a water skimmer. Let me check the center of mass. It's also because it's going to float fairly high, so it's easier to just... It's actually a bit lower than I thought on the center of mass. I think it's between two blocks. I'm going to err towards having my jet engines be here, just so that they're less likely to dip under the water. Did not get very far. I also spawned the Poly Warrior into the designer mode so that I could save... I'm going to get these both in actually first. So that I could save the sub-object. I didn't actually do any construction on it. And something I think that I'm going to do now is... Once I've done something once, I'm not going to do it again on camera. So I want to do everything at least once to just sort of show to new players that you can put together some quick and kind of hastily built vehicles, and they can still be pretty effective, actually. Like, it's not a huge time commitment to get into the game. You might not build anything amazing this way, but you can get into the game quickly. You can start to get some experience down, and then after that stage, you can start building some, vehicles that look cool or might be more effective, that sort of thing. But you don't have to make amazing things right off the beginning, right off the bat. And a lot of... Let's get into this battle. I was going to say something, but my train of thought, it's not even just that it didn't make it into the station, it's that it kind of melted.
Receiving.
Anyway, not everything has to be optimal for every vehicle. It's nice to kind of... I don't know how the Nightingale's allowed to get this close given my comparative movement speed, but I'll just assume it's right because it doesn't show the rings. This fight looks way more even than it is. The Nightingale significantly outcosts us. So here I am on my pergola. Let's make sure that I'm not holding weapons, although I didn't give myself a fire control computer. So that seems highly unlikely. Now, compared to my vehicles, the Nightingale is advanced technology. I think it's one of the sailboats that doesn't fly out of the water thanks to its massive propellers. Are these steam or cranks? These have to be cranks. Which Draba said should never have been in the game, and I kind of agree with him, although they're terribly useful. 75 APS, 14% armor. That's actually not too different from the Poly Warrior, I think, although the Poly Warrior is significantly cheaper. So the Nightingale, I believe, will turn to focus on the Poly Warrior at some point. These are pretty cool cannons. I don't think the gauge cooler really works that well, but I like these. They're pretty cool. For the build that I'm currently working on, I started to get more into that sort of kind of mimic thing. Yep, so she's turning to broadside, but it takes a long time. We'll have to see what kind of damage I'm taking. Okay, yeah, we ammo racked the Nightingale. We're at 100%. I think we just got whiffed. I see the camera is not stable enough. We took a little bit of fire to the deck. I see a little bit of damage to some poles, but we just ammo racked the Nightingale so early that it barely even matters.
Moving out. Receiving.
Actually, I don't think our materials rings are long enough. This nice little mess here. You can really see like my StarCraft 2 background with my unit micro coming into play. It's professional grade here. So I'm going to continue up this chain.
Now. Listening.
I'll merge these into a fleet once we get up here. I'm just keeping the scouts around to give myself a little bit of vision. Not that it's terribly important because I don't wind up focusing that much. But I need to finish my patrol boat now because I have some spare resources. And I would like to spawn one in there, and then I have to make an air vehicle and start doing some of this capturing. Although, I think I'll make the air vehicle first and then I'll make the supply craft. So, I've put these poles on here, and the reason is that so far from this campaign, I've learned that more poles is more power. That there is no number of poles that you can put on a vehicle where you say, wow, that is probably too many poles. It's just absolutely monotonically increasing additional effectiveness as you add poles to a vehicle. I'm not going to concern myself too much with how this actually works. I am simply going to slam a few things together here and call it a day. So there's thrust, I need ammo, I need turning, that sort of thing. I need to put in some of my prefabs. I'm going to pause the recording and do some of that stuff that we've seen before, and I'll come back once we've gotten to things that we haven't seen me do yet. Let's belay that order. I am going to destroy the fishing hole, and then I will do that off camera. Deepwater guard, made out of cardboard. It doesn't have a minimum accuracy on those turrets, so it shot the first few early. But yeah, fishing hole, as well as most of the Deepwater guard ships that we're going to be fighting against, absolutely made out of cardboard, but we are also made out of cardboard, so there's a little bit of parity there. Although, I've tried to design my vehicles so that they don't just explode. River Rat, well look at you. You've gone and made yourself almost into a man. Got a bit of scruff on your chin now, you do. Now, I know what you be a-thinking that here's your chance to get your revenge for what I did to your parents, and for taking that ship. Well, life's just tough now, ain't it? Besides, you don't stand a chance against me. I've learned so much from those shiny technologies on that old boat that I've applied them to my own prowler, who now runs these waters. You best just run along now if you know what's good for you. Or do you think you're up to take on your old pal Sal? So unlike the very hard playthrough, we actually get to fight Captain Sal's fleet because it doesn't immediately despawn. It's slow, so we could run away from it. And it significantly outcost us. However, we're going to fight it. So I suppose I should actually do that sooner rather than later. This also almost doubles my resource collection rate once I put a harvester on here.
Receiving.
So it's pretty important for me to take this over early. That'll let me spam out a bunch of new ships. Anyway, I'll get into this battle, and then I will do my boat construction off battle. Looks like we actually took 1% damage on one of these scout vehicles. I didn't repair it. I could have. The Poly Warrior can repair, even if the scouts themselves can't. Obviously, fighting at a distance is more beneficial for us here because I'm using missiles, so my range is pretty good. So let's take a quick look. Something that I should point out is that I slapped these missile interceptor pods on off camera. It wasn't really off camera. I did it in the last episode, in the 30 minutes sort of gap. So I did it right at the beginning of the episode. I believe this is the Kalmar, which sort of looks like a ramming vehicle, but is for a short range. I should turn my UI on so I don't say anything inaccurate because I get that stuff wrong sometimes. So yeah, I think these are effectively really short-range cram mortars. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think the Kalmar really fights you until you get really close. I think that's the same thing with these. It's hard to see when they're in here like this, but I think they're sort of magnets that she launches at you when she gets really close. We have sort of the cornerstone of the fleet, which is the upgraded Prowler, which I think is called the Vanguard. Oh, it's just called the Prowler, right? The Vanguard is a different ship. I think what makes this one different is that it has shields on it primarily. And these are dumbfire rockets, so they look like they can hurt quite a bit. But they're not aiming at us yet, so they're close range. And the Geiger's around here somewhere. I think that's what it's called. Yep, the Geiger. And this is a bomber, so this can actually hurt you quite a bit, but it does have to get over you. Let's see what the firepower is on it. Oh yeah, that's a lot. So we don't want to get bomb fire. We don't get to choose what our shells go after. And the Corsair, which shoots guided rockets, or guided missiles, so can actually hit us. Taking out the Prowler, or the Kalmar first, it looks like. That was enough to despawn her. We have taken 2% damage this time because the Corsair can actually productively hit us with her rockets. So Rambot's doing a little bit of repairing, but because of our volume spam, probably not a whole lot. Those cram cannons will really hurt, so we better not take too much damage from them. Here come the bombs. I'm not getting a lot of value out of my interceptors. They are firing them. I think we got a few of those bombs with them, but we also took a bit of damage, and now we're taking a bit more. It looks like they're magnet bombs. And we lost our bow. Is that all of our ammo storage? No, it's just most of it. So I probably need to connect that a little bit better. Our ammo may have chain reacted. We still got a lot of damage done first, and we're still going to be firing, albeit slowly, I think. Yeah, we still have a lot of missile firepower. We lost a little bit of it. But yeah, we're going to be loading 2 missiles at a time. Our scouts are still going to be firing. Hopefully we'll pull through on this one, although it's not guaranteed. This is the sort of thing that you get into when you're testing in production. Alright, the Prowler has despawned. I imagine one of the scouts' missiles were going for the Prowler there. There was also, because I was in a little bit of a hurry, I think there were some sort of holes that allowed the ammo rack to happen. Although it could have just been that the wood wasn't good enough. 69%. Nice. Not much left of the Corsair here. So it looks like we are pulling this one out, although it was a bit close. Wood is definitely garbage at tanking high explosive damage. It's actually really good for some other things, but not high explosive damage. Good, we're repairing. And the Harvester will then repair the Poly Warrior. My vision's really poor, though. I'm going to need... Since I can't pay attention to micro my units all the time, I'm going to need something that can fight and have vision range. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of work on my patrol boat. And once I've gotten sort of the repetitive stuff done, I'm going to come back and work on some new stuff on camera. Alright. I've done a little bit of repetitive stuff, so ammo's in place, ammo controller is in place. However, now I have to make it a water skimmer. There's 2 ways to do this. My water skimmers on the Steam Workshop use sub-object drag reduction. I am not going to do that here. The other way to do it is to just sort of cover the entire bottom of your vehicle. covered the entire bottom of your vehicle in hydrofoils. This does have issues because I meant to select 3 meters. This does have issues because they are one of the last blocks in the game that doesn't really have any armor or health or anything, along with wing blocks, right? So if I go here to the hydrofoil, 85 health, 1 armor, 5 weight, 3 material cost. I don't remember which way these go on. Let me check. That looks correct. That'll probably massively increase our cost. And in truth, this many aren't really necessary. For my skimmers on the workshop, I use way fewer. So this is the really lazy approach where you just set them all up all the time. So whatever part of your vehicle hits the water just kind of bounces off. We'll see how well this works or not. This is not my usual approach. And just as sort of a quick way of making this maneuverable, just sort of because I can, I'm going to put this 1x1 wood duct on, but the jet engines are so much tougher than wood that there's almost no point in doing this. Kind of hard to see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to put the wood beam back on that used to be here. Bunch of poles here. The ammo compartment I was a little bit more careful with than the Poly Warrior. I think the chances of it ammo racking are way, way lower. Let's check these. Yaw right, that looks correct. Yaw left, that looks correct. We have more than enough engine power to run all of these. I'm going to give us, actually I'll turn this off for now, but I'm going to give us a little bit of a test soon. However, because I'm changing this to a skimmer, I'm going to change to circle at a distance. I don't really plan on giving it a lot of... So I'm going to set it to ignore altitude. I don't plan on giving it altitude control anyway. But I'm going to give it that anyway. On water, the turning circle is going to need to be a bit higher. I don't know exactly how high, I'll just give it a quick guess. Maneuver. Since it's not a front-sider, I'm going to switch this over to ship or tank. Especially because it can't strafe, and that's kind of important. Let me quickly throw in a chair so that I can easily stay with this vehicle as it hopefully moves. I'm also going to have to add a fire control computer to it so that I can make sure that the gun works properly.
Receiving.
We are floating in a somewhat reasonable manner.
Receiving. Moving now.
Our yaw controls are either backwards or we're spinning around in the opposite direction for no particular reason. Is my vehicle backwards or something? Yep. Well, I guess this just means that I'll get to demonstrate how to deal with this.
Listening.
I know that most of my viewers are fairly advanced, but if you don't know this, well, it's useful to know how to do this. There we go, the front is now the front. I think I might have to adjust, no, I probably won't have to adjust the turning thrusters. I'm going to give us a little bit of pitch control and just set it to pitch our vehicle to be level. So that sort of thing I'm just going to do, there are a few ways to do it, but I really want it to work in the air. So the easy way to do that is to take some Universal Flight Surfaces because they have the smartest programming. and just spam them up here. As soon as our bow gets shot off, I don't want to lose... It looks like I put them upside down, doesn't really matter though. As soon as I lose the bow, I don't want to lose all of my pitch control. So I'm just going to toss a few in the stern as well. And edit pitch controller. I'm just going to put a fake set point in at 0. I don't want to have to worry about what the AI is doing with pitch. Now my vehicle should just sit perfectly flat like this. Kind of a lazy way of dealing with it, but it's very effective. I'm going to do the same thing for roll later, probably off camera. But let's get into the next battle right now. The enemies are kind of fast, and my vision range is kind of small, so this thing just happens. So we'll take a look at the rapier. We've already seen the Steamworks. I think the rapier is, and I've said this before in other campaigns, it's very serviceable as far as the Deepwater Guard is concerned. You can tell how heavy our block spam is by the fact that we have more volume than them. Well, I'll take a closer look at this later to see if I can, because I have a few empty spaces in here and I think some of them might be a bit critical, to see if I can either avoid the bow chain detonating or maybe distribute the ammo somewhere else. So here we have the rapier, some simple weapons. I don't remember... Okay, so yeah, it's got some missiles on it. Some torpedoes that have cram cannon components on it, as well as a functioning APS. However, it's made out of tissue paper. It can, however, actually do damage to us. And it looks like the Steamworks is already firing. We've gone for the higher radar target, which is the Steamworks, and destroyed it. However, the Pulley Warrior is taking fire from the rapier in the meantime. It looks like our bow has not gone yet, which is good, although I don't know how much time we have. Okay, so they don't chain react. We just took a lot of explosive damage to the bow. Oh, and I missed the rapier detonating. Anyway, it does just absolutely detonate. The good thing is, I don't think we have expensive repairs.
Listening.
Because we really just lost a lot of wood. I do have some ideas for making my vehicles a bit more durable, because in the future, we're going to go up against better factions. So I'm going to need a lot of active defenses, but I have some other ideas for more than just block spam on the armoring scheme. Don't know how well they'll work, but some ideas. So actually, this won't take that long, so I'll do it. I'll do it here. And center of mass. Deleted a piece of wood by accident. So the issue is, I don't know if these are upside down or not, so let me just check my orientation quickly. Pitch up, that means that these are right side up, and that means that these will want to be... I meant to get rid of the pitch down. Roll right. And roll left. I should probably add a little bit more redundancy here. An easy way of doing that is just something like this, because these components are a bit tougher. Just sneak these in here with pitcher and roller presets. Although when they roll, they will cause some minor stability issues to the ship. I could sneak some in here too, but that probably won't be that great. And if I sort of mirror these on the bottom, that should eliminate some of my issues. They'll be a little bit exposed, maybe lost a little bit early, but kind of, it's basically good enough. Now, I did say that I probably forgot something when I was programming this, and I did. There's actually something very important that I forgot, so I'm going to add it in here. Ignore outside distance. So this can set a maximum distance. Do I already have an ignore outside distance? No, I don't. I'm going to shrink this a little bit. I do have a weight distance, but not an ignore outside distance, so I'm not going to shoot at anything that's past a little bit more than 1 kilometer. But the really important one is this one. If you don't set a minimum distance on your CWUS cannons, once missiles get close to you, your CWUS gun will just freak out, aiming at all the close missiles, but never actually successfully aim at any of them or destroy them. This will mean that I'll always focus at further away missiles that have a tighter cone, and I'll be able to target between them a little bit better. It would still be better for me to add some additional weighting, so that I prioritize missiles most strongly when they're at maybe like the 400 meter range where I can kill them most effectively. I'm not going to get that twiddly with this build. I took notes for what was left for me to build. My notes said save subobject, detection, movement, ammo controller, and ammo. I've done all of that except for detection, which I'm going to do off camera because it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'll be right back with you in a moment. There we go. I've slapped some detection on. I also slapped some munition warning systems on to help my CWUS see things better. Looks good to me. However, everything else has to be tested in combat, so let's record a maximum speed and make sure that we have good settings to save this vehicle on. Good enough for me. There's a lot more tuning I could do, but for the moment, this simply has to be good enough. So, oh, I saved that already, but the slight tunings are going to be make sure that I have the correct behavior set. Pull it out of combat. Control R, make sure that it's water. It doesn't need many materials. I'm not going to set it higher than it is. I actually don't want its ammo to be too full. So that's actually pretty good. So put it back in play. Save vehicle. And I'm going to use the bathroom, and afterwards I'll spawn a few more of these, and then get on to the next few builds for this episode. Alright, I've used the bathroom, and I've built one of my patrol boats at every single base, so I have a few of them to go around, capture some more tiles, that sort of thing. What I'm going to do now is slam together a really fast resource transporter. It is not going to be particularly pretty. However, it will function. So just a bunch of really fast. Needs a default behavior, but not really more than that. So all that I'm really going to do here is just sort of give myself a flat end to work on. In the front, all that I'm going to do is pop on some really fast drag reduction, because all this thing has to do is to move materials quickly. There's nothing else that it does that's really going to be important, including actually looking like anything. I definitely just looked away from my mic there, so I'm probably going to fade out. That was sort of a big issue with my last recording. There are a few ways to set up wings. One of them is instead of wings, because I believe they cost the same amount and give... Oops, I didn't want custom control surfaces. I want control surfaces. They cost the same amount and I believe give the same lift. This is the other option. I don't really know how many I need. Strafe and hover. Alright, so these wings will only give me... I'm also just assuming up is the correct direction. You never really know sometimes. These will only give me lift when I need it to get to the desired altitude. That means these are upside down. I'll find out pretty soon if they are actually. I'm going to put a single propeller on the nose, so let's get rid of this. It's generally better to just make one really big Daddy blade in this case, but this will work too. Now, technically I don't need this to steer. That's not actually a requirement of this vehicle. But let's give it a little bit of ability to steer. I'm not giving it a fancy name or anything. Oh, I don't think I actually set this to really do anything. Okay, it's set to the pusher preset. Let's see if we have enough thrust or not. I might give us a small engine. Or perhaps just another way to get us out of the water. I think we'll move at a decent clip if we can actually get up. We are very heavy though. Oh yes, the lazy way of doing things. We don't have roll control. Excellent, we function. That is all I could have asked for.
Listening. Moving out.
You may have noticed in my other campaign playthroughs, the Lydia is way faster than this. And she's basically the same vehicle, just better. And what makes her better for an out-of-play vehicle is that for the Daddy blade, I just made it one blade that's like 300 meters long on the side. That's just the efficient way to use Daddy blades. But this one actually kind of looks like it is something that should reasonably, feasibly work, so we're going with this one.
Listening.
Important for this, set it to cargo.
Listening.
It's not going to transport any cargo at the moment, though. All that I'm really interested in
Moving out.
is
Moving out.
sending something around
Moving
to
out.
pick up all of this
Moving out.
garbage and deliver it over here. The next thing for me to do is to build an air vehicle that can actually fight to some extent. Let's see, what's a good place to build my air vehicle so that I know that I'll have enough resources?
Listening.
Probably over here. This harvester harvests the fastest. I probably have about 20 minutes of recording in this episode. I will probably cut a fair bit of it out, of this build out, just to get the recording done, at least the sort of duplicate stuff from previous ones. But I'm going to do this fairly fast. This is going to use the same sandblaster seen on the AWS. And I'm gonna make a quick hole. So this sort of thing is really just going to be slapping a little bit of armor around this, slapping an AI on, some ammo, the ammo controller, that kind of stuff. We've already seen it. So I'm going to skip ahead to the end of that to where I make it fly. This is going to be very hasty and not a particularly good craft, although a bit of a meme vehicle. You'll see what's going on when we get there. Okay, so I've tossed together just a really quick box. I'm going to smooth it out a little bit later. But it contains basically the things that I need. It has 2 small fuel engines in it, as well as a gun, ammo, an AI, and an ammo controller that I forgot about, so it's up here, but whatever. Like, it's made out of cardboard. Like, it's a pizza box. What do you want? So now it needs to fly. And it's going to fly in a very special way. I didn't realize that was going to happen. We're going to put this on hold for a little bit. We're finally going to get a decent resource zone, I expect. Whether or not we hold on to it for any length of time is, well, remain to be seen, because the Onyx Watch actually throws their weight against us. We won't be able to hold out. Well, this will have to be a little bit of a cliffhanger. Oh, and I already showed you the name of the vehicles. The vehicle. Let's cut that out. The visual gag will happen later. Here we go. Not the team I thought I did this with. 86 per second. That's basically doubling my resource collection rate again. So 4 times the previous episode. We do have to win first. One of our major enemies here is, I would consider to be the land, actually. We will see how we fare in these seas. Oh, and whether or not we hit anything, right? We haven't used these vehicles in combat. Not only have we not used these vehicles in combat, I'm using 2 of these vehicles in combat. I have no idea what this fleet is. I'm just not going to click on that. So far, so good. Flat water. Missing enemies.
Receiving. You're in control. Moving now.
Yeah, let's not destroy ourselves, shall we? Oh, we're confused, aren't we?
You're in control. Moving now.
We are doing damage right now. We're doing damage. That is actually pretty good. I'm going to leave the HUD up so that we can continue to see us doing damage. We are taking off. We're flying. But that's okay. Look, as long as we're still shooting, this is acceptable. We do have the ability to maneuver in the air, right? So, yeah, flying over there too. So not a huge deal, really. Our detection is working. I don't know if we're taking out enemy shells. We haven't taken fire yet. Once we do, I expect to lose the ship. This is abusing the Onyx Watch a little bit, which I didn't want to do. But I don't think I was prepared to fight them in other ways. Our damage actually looks respectable. Although, I say that, we have the furnace down to 96% health. This is definitely, if it's your first playthrough, this is a good point to physically go onto the furnace and capture it. It's worth a fair bit of money. We did shoot those shells, okay. We're having a little bit of accuracy issues if they're not coming straight towards us, I think. But we're doing okay. Also, we have all of that spam. I'm going to turn the HUD off now. All that spam. I fixed it on the latest AWS, but yeah, we definitely just kind of bounce off the waves and then just go and fly in the air. For me, this is pretty acceptable for a water skimmer. Since I told us to just stay in one place because I don't want to hit the land, we're just sort of going to spin around like this. And good luck to the furnace to actually hit us. It may happen, though. Let's check damage numbers again. It's adding up. I think we have enough materials on board to kill the furnace. The furnace, I mean, this is a lot of metal for us to kill with not very expensive vehicles. If you want to kill it cost effectively, use EMP. It has no EMP protection. Also, if you use heat or hash, you can just sometimes annihilate it because it has one AI and it's right here. You may have caught a little bit of the improved cram sound effects there. I'll get a little bit closer so we can hear it better. Yes, since I do watch Borderwise videos, as most of you do, if I look at my channel for videos that people on this channel also watch, Borderwise is the only one that enough of all of you watch to even make it there. It's entirely a list of Borderwise vehicles. Or Borderwise videos. Oh, these things are a little bit funny to watch. Yeah, so this is a valid way to make water skimmers. It's not my favorite. The ones that I have on the workshop, let's bring this one in a little bit. Maybe not that much, maybe like that. The ones that I have on the workshop tend to have much deeper hydrofoils, and that is really only something that you can do with spin block drag reduction. Otherwise, your skimmer is just too slow and it'll front flip all the time. And there's really no way to avoid it. But it means that even in fairly rough seas, I can have some of them stabilized. Ooh, that was really close. I can have some of them stabilized by their actual hydrofoils themselves, so they don't bounce off the surface of the water like this. I actually set roll and pitch controls and that sort of thing. Ooh, we just got a movement complete there. That is not what I want. Check our damage numbers again. Position our camera where we can see things. So yeah, this is a brick. It's just an absolutely brutal brick of materials. I think we stripped off... No, maybe we haven't stripped off any of its cram firepower. We've only worn it down to 81%. So... Oh no. We got another movement complete. Oh, it might be too late for this one. Oh no, we're still working. Yeah, so I actually don't want to get movement complete on these, because then they'll just sit in the water. It's useful when you want vehicles to just park, but I keep getting complete orders on these. I can change the AI so that it won't do this as easily. But anyway, it's looking like we're going to kill the furnace eventually. I may miss something by doing this, but rather than cutting a lot of footage, I'm going to pause recording right now, and I will get back to you when the furnace is at lower health. Yeah, so this is one of the weaknesses of hydrofoils, is that we took an explosion kind of under the deck here. I got another order complete thing on movement, and we're not getting enough lift from the front of the vehicle anymore. But we got a 2 damage on the furnace. But yeah, definitely an issue with this kind of vehicle. Okay, we can't kill something that expensive with these vehicles in a reasonable amount of time. I'm going to collect our fleets, repair, and re-engage. I will end this video with the fight against the mace, and the air vehicle, kind of the meme-ish one that I'm just quickly throwing together. I will do that in the beginning of the next episode, and then I think I'm going to start to bone down on like some real vehicles. Because I'll have a basic fleet worked out, logistics network. I'll be able to capture land tiles and water tiles, as well as to protect myself to some extent. So, quick pause while I get into combat with the mace. Oh, well, actually, we get another battle first. This is a little bit of a test for us. We only took out one of the missiles, the other one missed us though. I'm not sure if it's a detection thing or not. Oh, I didn't do anything to our default detection. Yeah. I'm not going to do something about that right now, because we're only facing the maze after this. However, I need to change the detection averaging.
Receiving.
Oh yeah, we're getting chased. Okay. So, if I want to keep this, I have to kill the maze. I was hoping to avoid fighting something so expensive so early. This is another vehicle, I believe, where I probably want EMP missiles. Don't really want them against a deep water guard, but it'd be super nice to have them here. So we'll see how much I lose. I could lose a lot right here. This is more than half my fleet. Excuse me, please let me spawn in. Let's see what's going on. These rough waters, I think, will actually give us a slight advantage. Oh, except we literally took a hit immediately because I probably had the movement off. Only 95%, but we may take more hits. I was expecting the mace to not have small caliber guns. Oh, maybe those are my small caliber fire. But that's really unfortunate. A mass amount of cramp firepower, moderate armor. Definitely something that I think I'd want EMP for. Metal deck armor instead of wood. So, we'll see. It's a little unfortunate that I took that hit right at the start. It did just destroy my missiles. It has lamb's nodes. Be interesting to see what difficulty this is ranked at, because it does have lamb's nodes. And we're blasting off again. It will not be that... they're not strong lambs. Is it actually going to hit us? Wow. I'm not sure why we're doing that. We do have pitch control. That's a little bit unfortunate, but we're still doing okay, I think. Well, I'll triage that vehicle a bit later. It's definitely having some issues right now. I may just give it a small rocket or a small jet engine for pitch down. That would be the easiest way to address this issue. Fortunately, we're getting a lot of firepower out of the Holy Warrior. Well, the mace just hammers the ship that it's actually going to be able to hit, even though I'd normally expect it not to. So, yeah, one of the things about testing in production, I do think what may have happened is that we might have launched almost completely vertical off of a wave, and then had no way to fix it once we hit the edge of the atmosphere. Because we need movement to adjust our pitch. Oh, no we don't. Why did I wind up on the wrong vehicle? We don't need movement to adjust our pitch. These should be doing it, but they're not. Maybe because they're saturated on roll. However, something that I've noticed is that fake set points just don't work sometimes, right? Like, I put pitch on a fake set point, but something that I've found is that if your AI doesn't control I don't think it's working. Something I found recently that doesn't always... Oh, we killed the mace and I wasn't watching. Well, something that I found recently that may or may not really be a bug is that if my AI does not control an axis, my fake set points don't work. And that didn't used to be the case. I haven't really investigated it to see if that's the issue, but that's what it feels like to me, that I built vehicles that when I set fake set points, the fake set point wasn't doing anything until I changed the AI to actually control the axis that I was working on. Let's take a quick look at that here. I'll get really close to this one so that I know which one it is. Oh, it has an ideal pitch angle. That won't do anything. Yep, look at that. Right, so I have a fake set point. My pitch controls should be getting utilized whether or not the AI is set like that. I could turn these to full roll authority. Oh, this is the one that I have repair units on, which is kind of not what I want. Let's make sure that my top speed is a little bit low. But I don't know, this is definitely a change in behavior from previous, at least in my experience. And I don't think I'm going to go and I'll retrofit all the other instances of the patrol boat. So anyway, that's going to be the end of the actual filming for this episode. I'm going to do these retrofits off camera, and in the next episode, I'm going to work on finishing out my rudimentary air vehicle before getting onto a meteor build. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the future.